Brew on this Tuesday, October 8th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, joined by my compadre this morning. I got the lovely Grace Monroe. Grace, how are you feeling?
First of all, can you hear the jackhammering going on at my next door neighbor's house? That's how my hopes and dreams feel this morning, okay? So I'm sorry about the extra noise. I'll try to mute up my mic when I'm not speaking, but, I got a lot of feelings. I'm going through it over here. And, yeah, so how are you feeling? But, hey, Hector, I'm glad to see your smiling face this morning.
I'm glad to see your smiling face as well. Shout out to the chat, one of the best chats that are out there in the entire YouTube universe. Like you said, the Yankees lost game 2 of the ALDS, right? We lost to the Kansas City Royals 4-2. Our offense didn't show up. Carlos Rodon looked good until that 4th inning. Aaron Judge has gone absent. Grace, where would you like to start this conversation?
I just want to say, let me just say, I'm going to try really hard not to curse this morning, okay? I'm going to try my best, okay?
I think you're good. We passed the 30-second mark on YouTube, so you're good to let a curse word fly. You're good, Grace. Let it fly.
I got to give my friend Sierra a shout out on Twitter because she said something that was hilarious, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna paraphrase it and try to remember it out of my memory because I can't remember exactly what it was. I should have looked it up before I came on, but she said something about, I think it was about Rodon, and she said something like, typical man, all talk and gives us 30 seconds. And I feel like that was so hilarious, and I woke up this morning still thinking about it. Y'all, Sierra is truly, truly hilarious and hysterical. Yes. If you're not following her on Twitter, you must go follow her. She is a riot, and she loves the Yankees. So she's a great follow on Twitter. I highly recommend. But if you were following me last night on Twitter, then I was going through it. So I was feeling some type of way. I said, I'm going to be in a bad mood for 2 days. Please nobody talk to me. Okay? And my poor husband. Okay? So anyway, all that to say, I'm not feeling too good because we had multiple chances to win and we didn't put it away. We made embarrassing errors on defense. We made poor choices on offense. We mismanaged the game a couple times, and it was embarrassing, okay? It was embarrassing, and now we have lost home field advantage, which I was trying to talk myself down from the ledge saying, we were the best road team in baseball, so maybe the visitor advantage works for the Yankees, but I feel like that might be copium because we're headed back to Kansas City, or we're headed to Kansas City, and they have all the momentum on their side now. We came out and we won game 1 in the most Kansas City Royal fashion.
Yes.
And we punched them in the mouth, and they were down. They were looking defeated at the end of the game. They were frustrated. They thought, we did everything we could. We still couldn't win this game, and we won it. All we had to do was come out and fight. And the boys looked like they were dead in the water by the 6th inning. And so I'm not feeling good. And and I'll talk about each point, but I'll let you say your overview, Heck.
No, definitely. It is some frustration after game 2, especially when you see how the Yankees fought in game 1. There was how many lead changes? 5 lead changes, the most in a playoff series, right? So you got to give the team credit for that. And that's that's in a game where Aaron Judge, he goes, 0 for 4, 0 for 5 as well. So, we fought back with Aaron Judge going over in the first game. And I know he got an infield single yesterday, and, hopefully that can help turn it around. But there is some frustration when you look at it, right? And I said this last week when we was highlighting and previewing a series. The Kansas City Royals are a team that can beat you in many different facets of the games. But if you give the Kansas City Royals extra outs, if you're playing sloppy defense, if you yourself are sloppy on the base path and you give an out on the base path, this is the type of team you do not want to give that to, because if you give them opportunities to score, they are going to score. In that 4th inning, minus the Salvador Perez home run, right? That defensive play from Jazz Chisholm right there. That set the tone for the rest of the inning. If Jazz Chisholm makes that play, I think we get away or get out of that inning with just allowing 1 or 2 runs. And when you look at Carlos Rodon's last starts against the Kansas City Royals, they were solid to a degree. His defense let him down, which led to solo home runs. So if the defense is not behind Carlos Rodon, if the defense is not there to back up Carlos Rodon, you're going to get results that what you saw last night in the 4th inning. Like I said, those first 3 innings, especially that first inning, Carlos Rodon had some swag. He was throwing that fastball. He was animated on the mound. That's what we wanted to see from Carlos Rodon. But that 4th inning, the defensive miscues, right? The infield is not knowing where to cut a ball off, right? Coming from left field from Verdugo, you allow somebody to get to second base when they need to get to second base, right? John Birdie was able to help us get out of that inning literally the next play, right? So it's little cues like that during the regular season. You could get away with that against the White Sox, but you can't get away with that in the postseason against the Kansas City Royals, a team that has been fighting their whole season. Right, so we got 2 people backstage. We got the fly guy, Damien Serrano, I'm going to bring up, and then we got a special guest. I sent them the bat signal this morning. I sent them the bat signal this morning. Our good friend, Mr. Jason 161 is in the building. Jay, how you doing?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. Damien, my brother, first, I want to take time out. You good, bro? Everything's good?
Yeah, I know good right now, man.
Give us a status update.
We got about 12 hours to land for, you know what I mean? So first time in a little bit over 100 years that a major hurricane has hit this area. I'm praying that my Native American brothers continue the blessings and the rituals, because what's said is that all this, obviously, as we know, Florida is a major Native American burial ground, anywhere from Tampa all the way to Safety Harbor. So back then, there was a major hurricane. They put a blessing on the land ritual, and we haven't had a hurricane since over 100 years. It's been 103 years. The major impact is hit. So let's hope that it turns last minute. But at the end of the day, if it turns last minute, that means it's going to hit somebody else. Yeah. So blessings to everybody in Florida, everybody in Tampa. I know AA. Blessings to you, my man. I know you in Clearwater. FL Diver, the same. Everybody in chat who's in Florida, be safe. And I'm out here doing God's work, getting people what they need to get. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's Yankees baseball, so let's go.
Facts. Before we continue, guys, that he just mentioned, AA, FL Diver, you guys are all following us on Twitter. If we can, let's start a group chat on Twitter. Let's start a group chat with people in our community that are in Florida. Maybe where AA is at in Clearwater is safe. And that may FL Diver could drive over to Clearwater, stay at a hotel, whatever it is. If you guys are out there, let's start that group chat. But Dame,
if you're in Pinellas County, you gotta go. If you're in Pinellas County, you gotta go. Listen, man, last night, Rodon, he was stellar for the first 3.5 innings. It's Ro. He gets in his own head, and you could tell. The one thing that I would have loved for Austin Wells or somebody to do was go out and talk to him before it completely unraveled on him. Which they didn't. But at the end of the day, we got to put up more runs. Judgy, listen, he's having his struggles. Judge is gonna come through. He'll be all right. Big G, he had a few struggles here and there. He came through with a hit. He'll be all right. But these guys gotta step up, because hopefully that Jazz Chisholm home run puts a boost in some things, even though 9th inning, hopefully that carries over into game 3. But we got a tough cookie in Seth Lugo. You saw what he did to us the last game, but first time we saw him, we hit him well. We knocked him out. I think it was the 3rd, 4th inning. So it can go either way, but the Yankees got to stay firm and play who you are. You are the number 1 team in the East. Play like it. Let's get it done. I still have plenty of faith we'll get it done in 4 or 5.
Yeah, 100%. Jay, before I throw it over to you, I want to shout out the chat before we continue. I got to do a roll call, because if I don't do a roll call, my guy Jacob Petruzzi is going to get upset. Shout out to Jacob Petruzzi in the building. Salute. 3 capital S's. Our friend Jonathan is in the building. Theo Nosebleed section is in the building. Our good friend Tina, how you doing? Frankie Rivera's in the building. Big Time Lou, how you doing? Stephen B, salute to you. Ultra Cowboy fan, my good friend Austin Cruz is in the building. Of course, my guy Ghost, mi hermano de la isla, is in the building. Ghost, how you doing? Salute. And like always, I got to shout out my lovely girlfriend who put the chat guidelines. Hate speech or bullying will not be tolerated. If you are found in breach of YouTube terms of services or our guidelines, you will be kicked from the chat without warning. Jason, My fault for not joining you last night, bro. I was going through some issues after the Yankees lost. I was trying to download the new Dragon Ball Z game that's out. I'm having issues with my PlayStation. I'm serious. That's literally that's literally what was my issue from last night till today. Go ahead, Jay. I'll throw it over to you. Let's get your take.
At least you got your priorities straight. That's good, dude. That's stuff up. That's up. How are you, Grace? Damien. What's good, man?
What's up, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point too. I mean, I think Carlos Rodon deviated from his pitch selection at a certain point, and once he did, the Royals pounced all over it, and we weren't able to react. And it's essentially, this is a nutshell: one bad inning, cost the Yankees the game, and then inning where it unraveled. So, unfortunately, that happened last night, and you know, and the Yankees bats are slow to respond. I do think I'm seeing some signs that Judge is about to go off, and I'm seeing some signs that Stanton's about to go off. So that's a good thing. But I think that the team that wins Game 3 is most likely going to win the series. So the Yankees have to win Game 3. I mean, I'd love for them to win Game 3 and 4, but at the very least, if they win Game 3, it's coming back to the Bronx.
Oh yeah.
4. So, and my question is Cole going to pitch Game 4? Is he going to pitch Game 5? Is Hill going to come into this scenario too now? So, but I think Clark Schmidt's he's going to be primed and ready for Lugo. But we got to jump on. We got to jump on him early, man. You know, Reagan's last night. He wasn't that great. He was laboring, but he shut the big bats down when he needed to.
Yeah.
Soto. You know, the bottom of our lineup is hitting just like we're shutting down Bobby Witt, but we're not shutting down Salvador Perez or Melendez. So. It's the bottom part of the second half of that lineup is doing the same thing as ours, hitting men in the first half of the lineup. So we need some adjustments, and we need them quickly. So, and a non baseball related, the Jets just fired their head coach. So,
wow, the Jets just fired their head coach. It looks like it's going bad in Jet land. If you're a Jet fan out there, like my good man Ghost is, I feel sorry for you. Ghost, just know it's all love here. But to piggyback of what Jason just said, and I'll throw it over to Grace afterwards. When you look at Reagan's, he had a game plan, and he stuck to that game plan. Like you said, Jason, pitch around the guys at the top, 1, 2, and 3, and you make the other guys in that lineup beat you. And that's what the Kansas City Royals are doing. In Game 1, it worked in our favor, right? Because Aaron Judge was 0 for 5, but you've seen Juan Soto get a few hits, right? So they were able to walk the other guys and Aaron Judge, but Gleyber Torres came up big. Alex Verdugo came up big. We saw in the 9th inning yesterday, Jazz Chisholm had a solo home run. You can put whatever weight you want behind that, but we need the rest of the offense to step up. Giancarlo Stanton, right? I don't think the Yankees will bench Giancarlo Stanton after 2 games. But when you look at both those games, both those hits that he had, both those plays that he made contact on yesterday should have been infield singles. They should have been infield singles, but because of Giancarlo Stanton's speed, it's a rally killer. It's a double play. It's inducing a double play. It's killing our rally when we're trying to come back. Again, I trust Big G because when you look at his numbers in 100 and something playoff games, he has 11 or 12, 13 home runs. That's 1 home run every 10 at bats. You want that out there. Even if he's 80, 70, 50% of what he is, you still want that out there because he could change a game just like that. I just want the Yankees, if we face Riggins again, or however you pronounce his name, if it's a lefty on the mound that's starting, I think we need to flip-flop Giancarlo Stanton and Austin Wells. Austin Wells was phenomenal for us during the season, but when you look at Austin Wells over his past 15 games, Austin Wells is 1 for 2 for his last 20 or 2 for his last 30, something like that. Austin Wells has been struggling. I think they just need to move Austin Wells down the lineup, let Big G come back up to give Aaron Judge some protection, and let's see what happens. But not a big fan of what I saw from the offense in yesterday's game. Go ahead, Jay, and I'll throw it over to Grace.
I was just going to say, I love when Giancarlo Stanton hits the ball in the air. He hits the ball hard. But when he hits the ball on the ground, he hits the ball so damn hard, you could be Usain Bolt doubled up if you hit the ball that. So, and that's what happened yesterday. He hit that double play. There's no way he was going to run it out. So, if he had.
So what I was. Sorry, y'all. I know you can hear the jackhammer in the background, but it's just an extension of my emotions. I wanted them to pinch hit Jason Dominguez for Giancarlo Stanton or Oswaldo Cabrera for Giancarlo Stanton in his last at bat last night. because it was a righty on the mound, and Giancarlo Stanton, I love him so much, but when he isn't hitting out of the park for power, he's not making that type of contact, and what you're going to get from him is a base hit or something like that, he's a liability on the base pass. But we have people on the bench that are not liabilities on the base pass. So if he's only swinging for a base hit or maybe a double, but it's probably going to be a single, then we needed to pinch hit a lefty against the righty late in the game last night. I was really surprised that Boone didn't make that move. He had multiple people on the bench that could have taken that at bat and then been on the base pass and been a weapon, steal over and get in scoring position when we had the ability to try to score a run, right? Now, I do think Giancarlo Stanton is more on the balls, like on the ball. He's seeing it more. He's close. I think he's close. However, last night in that situation against a righty, I would have pinch hit him, but I would start him the next day. Like, I think he's close to turning it. The last at bat that he had in game 1, I was like, oh, he's seeing it. He's coming. I know he's coming. I believe in starting Giancarlo Stanton. Please trust me, okay? But I would have pinch hit for him last night at that last at bat. However, I forgot where I was going with that. But anyway, for what it is, I would have pinch hit somebody for him last night, that last at bat.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
No. Sorry, I'm just paying attention to the comments real quick. Shout out to the comments. Our guy, L.I. Yankee King. I'm chuckling over here because L.I. Yankee King, he is obsessed with players from Japan, right? Japanese-born baseball players. L.I. Yankee King is obsessed with this. Jason, you may not be familiar to the meta because you don't hang out with us on Twitter, but L.I. Yankee King is so obsessed with Japanese players. He's learning Japanese right now. So shout out to L.I. Yankee King. Trying to take his scouting to the next level so he can learn their native tongue so he can scout them well. Shout out to our good friend L.I. Yankee King. Yeah, shout out to you. I'm dying here because L.I., I love you so much, bro. I swear to God. Shout out. I want to shout out some more chats as well. Sly Goldsma says Yankees are not winning the World Series. You'll all have to embrace this flag. Oh my God, a negative Nancy in the morning. Hopefully you woke up on the positive side of the pillow. I want to take a pause real quick because what Grace was talking about with Giancarlo Stanton, right? And Damien, I'll toss it over to you to get your take, and Jason as well. I see what you're saying, Grace. I would have liked the Yankees to pinch hit for Big G as well, but we know what the Yankees are. They don't want the storylines. They don't want the news reporters. Aaron Boone's at his press conference, and the first question that he's asked, oh, what was the move with Giancarlo Stanton and Jason Dominguez? Why didn't you just start Jason Dominguez? So when it comes to the Yankees, they're just going to be the Yankees. They're just going to trust their veterans.
Lose.
Then they're just going to lose.
Then they're going to lose because
that's just what it is.
Okay, I'm done. It's time to win the game. I don't give a fuck about your fucking feelings or whatever.
I am with you.
I'm sorry, Hector. I'm not yelling at you.
No, I know you're not. I love
you so much.
I know you're not. I am
with
you, Grace. I am with you 100%. Trust me. And I think Damien and Jason are with you as well. But we understand that the Yankees, they want to be respectful to their veterans. They want to be respectful to their big money guys. And Giancarlo Stanton is both a veteran and a big money guy. It may frustrate us, but watching the next game, Giancarlo Stanton hits 2 or 3 home runs, and then Brian Cashman is going to emerge from the shadows looking like the best GM of all time.
Listen, I love Giancarlo Stanton. I believe in Giancarlo Stanton in the regular season, and I definitely believe in him in the postseason. And he is going to come through. He's close, okay? I believe in him. But last night, the last at-bat matchup was mismatch, okay? Mm-hmm. In that specific instance, they should have utilized all their tools to try to come back and win this game. Game 2, coming into Kansas City with 2 wins versus coming in with the series tied. Huge difference. And they acted like they didn't believe that. Or like there was no rush. There's a rush. Y'all calm me down. Y'all back me off the cliff. Like, I don't know what to say. When the momentum shifts and everybody's on tilt. Teams regress to their fundamentals.
Yes.
And we ain't got none of those. Okay?
Yes.
I shouldn't say none, but our fundamentals are severely lacking this season. I think we can all admit. And I love the team. No. But the fundamentals, the errors, the defense, the choking
100%.
up when you need to, taking it the other way, doing all that stuff, batting around, we don't have that to fall back on. Okay? So that's what concerns me. Y'all talk me off a cliff. Please.
No, Grace. And that's what these conversations are for. But that's why when you look at game 1, when Anthony Volpe had that era, it was the same old Yankees all over again. This is how the Yankees lose games in the regular season, when you play sloppy defense. Damien, I want to throw it over to you and then throw it over to Jason to get his take as well. Go ahead, brother.
There's a couple things I'm noticing on Big G. I don't know if you guys notice it. It's in specific pitches. He stands tall on certain pitches. He's got a crouch stance on other pitches. So I'm like, G, pick a stance. Get some type of consistency here. The Yankees, please cut out the run on contact play. For the love of God, please cut that out, because it's 9 out of 10 times it doesn't work. And we're leaving all kinds of people on base. Right now it's boiling down to the same situation that we always run into. Pitching is great, offense is lackluster. So listen, shout out to the bullpen. After the Royals hit 4 runs, the bullpen held it down. They gave the Yankees, the offense, every chance in the world to make a comeback in this game. 4-run inning after that, they shut it down. Not one pitcher gave up a run after that. So as long as these guys can somewhat get some type of consistency, quit leaving people on base, play smart ball, run the bases well, cut out the run on contact play, the Yankees will be fine. And I think they will get past the Royals. But beyond the Royals, they cannot continue to play like this. They have to have some type of consistency, especially, God willing, if we make it to the World Series, those guys in the National League, no matter who you play, whether it's the Dodgers, the Padres, which I think the Padres to me is the favorite. Those guys are world beaters. Those guys are on a whole nother level. So whether it's fundamentally, offensively, pitching, they are well-rounded as well-rounded can get. So the Yankees and Boone team, the managers, the coaches, guys, get it together, because, you may get past the Royals, but beyond that, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get tighter. You got the Tigers playing out of their minds. Look, shout out to the Tigers, kicking Class A out of the game yesterday. But listen, they got to get consistency on offense, and it's the same thing that we've talked about for the last 12, 13 years. Whenever they're in the playoffs, it's never really pitching. It's the offense. The offense has got to get it together.
Yeah, and when you look at the Tigers, Kerry Carpenter is the one who had that home run against Class A. Dame, do you know who his personal hitting coach is?
Aaron Judge's. Yes, sir.
Aaron Judge's hitting coach. Jay, I want to toss it over to you. Austin Cruz says, I agree with Grace on her rant, especially being up 2-0 puts all the pressure on the Royals in that situation. It would have been great to put a lefty. Well, I think he's talking about the at bat. Of course, Austin. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, brother.
Just to piggyback off all your points, I mean, every series is tied 1-1 right now. Every one of them. So what's supposed to happen is not happening, right? Yankees are supposed to be up 2-0, not happening. The Mets, not happening. Dodgers, not happening, right? None of the things are happening the way people think Sarah's saying it's supposed to be happening. That's the whole point. That's the whole excitement about playoff baseball.
Yeah.
You're any shitty teams now. These teams are going to fight back. Like the Padres demolished the Dodgers after what they did after them in the first game. Like, it just shows the back and forth. The Phillies walked off on the Mets after like 4 comebacks. Like there are chinks in the armor for every team, and they're being exposed little by little. But whether it's the bloodbath of the NL West or what we're seeing in the AL East, and here you got 3 teams in the Central in the American League in the freaking playoffs. 3 teams in the Central.
That's wild.
It was going to be 3 in the East, but it's 3 in the Central. So, and it just goes to show you never know. You don't sleep on any of these teams. I don't know who started talking the Yankees' path is easier. It's bullshit. It's not easier.
No,
that's Michael K. That's Michael K. and this stuff right there.
Yeah, you're just playing with a different Hornet's nest now. It's a different. You got to face the Hornet.
Absolutely.
And that's the frustrating part and the exciting part of playoff baseball. It's baseball. So, would we like the Yankees to do more? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. That's our team. So we're going to be the most passionate and most vocal about it. But am I surprised? Not even a little bit.
Yeah, because when you look at it, there's so much more parity in Major League Baseball. Like you said, Jay, every series is tied 1-1. After the first game, everybody thought, oh, the Mets, they have this series in the bag. The Yankees, they have this series in the bag. But you never know when it comes to baseball because anything can happen at any given moment. Everybody thought, oh, the Cleveland Guardians are going to sweep the Detroit Tigers. They look pitiable in that first game. They rookies look shocked. No. They came back. That young team came back and they fought hard. Shout out to my guy Razel the Great in the building who says the likes are disappointing. We got over 60 people watching us collectively. Smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. The real Yankee fan says, salute to the panel. You just got to play hard. You just got to play defense. Yanks got to be strong. Frederick in the building. Damien, do you agree with Boone's decision with Weaver pitching the late innings last night? And I want to ask that question real quick, right? And Damien, you can answer it first.
Yeah.
And throw it over to Grace and Jason. Me personally, if I would have rather not have Weaver face Bobby Witt, because when you have a playoff series where everyone is facing each other day after day, Bobby Witt, he's going to get used to Luke Weaver's arm angle. He's going to get used to that slot. He's going to get used to seeing Luke Weaver. He already saw him in game 1 and game 2. Game 3, he's going to have more of a familiar history of Luke Weaver because he's seen them over the past few days. So me personally, I would have liked Luke Weaver not pitching in that game. I do understand it. You're trying to shut them down. You got a day off today and you're trying to make a rally in the 9th inning. I do understand that logic, but at the same time, I want Luke Weaver to be an element of surprise, especially when it comes to Bobby Witt. What's your thoughts, Dame, then Grace and Jay?
I get why Boone did it, right? Because the only other pitcher left in the pen was Luis Hill, right? So God forbid this game goes into extra innings, you need an arm with length. Not only that, but you may need Luis Hill down the road. If Schmitty has a terrible start to the game, this next game coming up, Luis Hill's going to be the guy piggybacking off of him. So I do understand why Boone did it, and I get why he did it, and I really don't have too much of an issue with it considering why he did it and the circumstances of the situation. And of course, again, the one thing I can't stand about the playoffs right now is every other day. You got a day off in between each game, which I don't like because doesn't give the teams, especially our team, consistency and then being able to get really in a groove of things. But with that day off, it also gives the bullpen a rest, gives Weaver a rest, gives all the arms that we used yesterday a rest. We only had one guy left in the pen yesterday. That was Luis Hill. Other than that, there was nobody else. So we definitely need that day off today. But listen, I had no problem with it. Boone did perfectly fine with that. Weaver's been a stud. And listen, if Bobby Witt or anybody else gets to Weaver at this point, kudos to them because this kid is pitching on a whole nother level right now. But listen, guys, I just wanted to hop on real quick. This is kind of like my meditation, especially for right now with what's going on. So listen, everybody, I pray everybody's okay in Florida and everywhere surrounding. If you can, donate, help out these people, American Red Cross, FEMA, so on and so forth. AA, if you're in the chat, be safe. FL Diver. Anybody else in the Tampa Bay area surroundings, be safe, be careful. And guys, I'll see y'all later.
Damien, my brother, you be safe out there. Love you, my guy. You already know. All right, shout out to my guy Damien. Just want to piggyback real quick. DSJ just says salute to Jason, who looks like if you stepped on his lawn, his response would be to get his shotgun and threaten to blow your socks off. Shout out to Delano Still Jr. The only troll that we acknowledge and love is our good friend Delano Still Jr. Shout out to you. But no, honestly, like Damien said, if you guys are in Tampa, if you guys are in Florida, be safe, right? If you guys can evacuate, try to evacuate. If you guys have a safe spot to hunker down and bear out the storm, you do that. You reach out to people that you know. If you could donate whatever dollars you can, donate to FEMA, donate to whatever mutual aid organizations that are out there that are helping people in Florida. Because like Damien said, it's historic what's going to happen down there. So, prayers and thoughts to everyone. Go ahead, Grace.
I feel like really sorry that I acted the way I acted when Damien said, "This is my meditation." I said, "Oh no, oh Lord, you can't take me anywhere." Well, I'm sorry about that. I love Damien. He's in my thoughts and prayers. That everybody in that area for sure. It's going to be crazy. If you can get to safety, please get to safety.
Please get to safety.
Do what you can to help your family and friends and community. And that's what Damien's doing. He's a great guy. We love having him on the show. He's a real one. And, you know, we're up here so freaking out about losing one game, and people have real life problems, you know?
Yeah.
So it really puts it in perspective. But yeah, I mean, I on one hand, I wish they hadn't put Luke Weaver in because we ended up losing the game. However, on the other hand, if he put him in and we ended up winning the game, we'd have been like, oh, Boone, you know, he went all in and it paid off, you know, so it was a risk. He went all in. However, he only went all in on the defense, not on the offense, which was my critique of the managing last night. And I'm not an Aaron Boone hater. I'm not. But yeah, I already detailed what I would like to see happen. But if you're gonna make an all-in move, then go all the way in, not 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I'm gonna put in my closer, but I'm not gonna, you know, that's my only thing about it. Luke Weaver has been amazing. He hasn't been in the closer role for too long. And everybody can talk about, oh, they're gonna get used to his arm slot and they're gonna get used to his whatever, but he's getting used to them too. Luke Weaver's getting used to these batters too. So if it comes to, you know, a game 5 or a game 4 with an elimination or whatever, and Luke Weaver has seen these batters several times, it could be to his advantage. So, you know, I can't really decide if that was a negative or a positive thing. It's kind of like a wash to me. So I don't really have I'm not really mad at that. So,
good point.
But
Jay,
you know, everybody said I was crazy for wanting to play the Orioles, and now y'all are seeing.
No, okay? I wasn't crazy. I wasn't crazy at all. I wanted that matchup. I wanted to smoke with the Orioles and the Houston Astros. That's just me. Shout out to our friend Jeffrey. Hello, everyone. Well, hello to you. Good morning, good sir. Jay, what's your thoughts about the Luke Weaver situation, bro? Let's get your insight.
Important point too, and I think this, just to complement it, it is harder for a batter to get used to a relief pitcher than it is a starting pitcher because they don't face them as often. Okay, so it's easy for them to get used to Cole, Hill, Schmidt, and so on and so forth. So I'm less concerned about bringing in Weaver. I hope if they make it the next round, they bring in somebody like Clayton Beater, who the next team has never seen. A different dynamic that they have no choice but to get used to in the playoffs only. So I hope that they had. And it's crazy because I don't know if you noticed, but every team in this series has gone 15 bats and 11 pitchers, not 13. So there's a shortage of pitchers on this end. And look who's kind of coughing up the games at the end, the bullpen, right? So my guess is if the Yankees make the next round, I hope that they add a pitcher that these teams have not seen yet, which can kind of throw a little bit of a different dynamic. So you made an important point, Grace, and it's I'm glad that you made it. So thank you. It's just Weaver, I'm less worried about than Hill, because they'll face Hill multiple times. They'll face Schmidt multiple times. They're only going to see Weaver once in a game. So
y'all, I just saw
that is a great point. Go ahead, Grace.
Yeah, great point. I just saw in the chat Delano said can't take Grace to a baseball game because her rant is a natural disaster or something like that. Okay, there it is. Grace, the only place we can't take you is to a ball game. Grace is the type to rant a natural disaster in the opposite direction because they don't win. It's so funny because the other day, somebody on Twitter, Veteran Capybara, we know him from the chat.
Yes, Capybara, yeah.
Yes, he commented, Grace should be the manager. And I said, could you imagine? I would get tossed more than Boone. These are the facts.
She'll be out there protecting Jason Dominguez like a mama bear. But I just want to bring this up real quick. Because speaking about Carlos Rodon, this is what Carlos Rodon had to say about that 4th inning, right? Trust the pitch, go out there and attack was the mindset that I wish I had. Carlos Rodon on what went wrong in that 4th inning. When you look at the pitching lines from yesterday, Carlos Rodon 3 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs. He did have 7 strikeouts. He gave up that one hit to Sal Perez. But when you look at it, for those first 3 innings, you got everything you want out of Carlos Rodon. He was striking guys out. A couple of guys got on base. He wasn't walking everyone. It's when his defense failed him. It's when Jazz Chisholm couldn't make that play. Yes, he gave up so I can live with Carlos Rodon giving up a solo home run here or there. But when his defense betrays him, everything starts to unravel. He loses his focus because he's so frustrated at his teammates misplaying a ball. And I think at the same time how that aggression, right? That ruthless aggression. And for those of you that are WWE fans, that aggression that Carlos Rodon has on the mound, it hurts him and it helps him at the same time. It helps him when he starts up a game to rev up and build up his intensity, but it hurts him because when an error happens, you see how defeated he is and you see he just can't regain his focus. And I think it comes down to Austin Wells being a rookie catcher, right? Because he gave up that solo home run to Sal Perez, who's a veteran catcher. Salvador Perez, who has history against Carlos Rodon because he was with the White Sox in the Central, right? Mm-hmm. So Sal Perez was playing a chess game while Austin Wells and Carlos Rodon was playing checkers. That's the difference between a veteran catcher like Sal Perez and a rookie catcher in Austin Wells. Salvador Perez will recognize when his starter is struggling, go out on the mound and talk to their starter several times, like he did with Higgins or Riggins. I can't pronounce his name. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. But the starter with the Royals, Salvador Perez was out talking to him almost every inning. And that's the one thing that Austin Wells didn't do. And I would like to see that more from Austin Wells. If not Austin Wells, one of the veteran infielders. And this is why not having Anthony Rizzo hurts you, because Anthony Rizzo was that veteran infielder who would call a pitcher's meeting and would get the catcher to calm the pitcher down. And we don't have that. And you can clearly see it's hurting us.
Yeah, I mean, Rodon gave up 0 walks yesterday. 0. But when your infield defense makes an error, allows people to reach base, puts pressure on you, it makes you feel alone. You know, it makes you feel alone on the mound, not backed up by your team. I'm not putting words into his mouth. I'm just trying to empathize with how he could feel in that moment. And Perez is like kind of like his Devers, right? He's got major history with him.
You good?
The guy, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, we can hear you. Everything is fine. No, everything is fine.
The guy always hits him.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
No, you're fine. Yeah, we can hear you.
The guy always hits him, so he's in his head. He lives in his head rent free, like Devers lives in Cole's head. So Cole, you know, kind of like unravels when Devers finds a little chink in his armor or whatever, because he's already up here, right? And I love Cole. I'm not saying anything bad about Cole, okay? But Perez is kind of like Rodon's Devers. So when he had that solo home run, he needed his team to come back and say, yo, 1 run is no big deal. We got your back. And then when they didn't, it was just a bridge too far for him. It was too much. He got too emotional. He felt alone. It spiraled and it snowballed out of control.
Yeah. I just want to take a second because Jeffrey just posted this in the chat. He said, I know you're talking Yankees, but did you hear about famous Boston Red Sox pitcher Luis Tiant, who passed away today? So I got to check this to see if it's true. Luis Tiant is a Dominican pitcher who pitched for the Boston Red Sox, a Latino, who passed away today. Jeffrey, thank you for this. If you guys can, thoughts and prayers to Luis Tiant and his family. Phenomenal pitcher. I'm at a loss of words. He meant a lot, as I know, for a lot of Dominican fans growing up. Luis Tiant, especially for Pedro Martinez. Luis Tiant was someone that was big in his life. So thank you, Jeffrey, for putting that in the chat. It's a hard way to transition after somebody brings up death and stuff like that. But going back to the conversation, when you look at the Carlos Rodon situation, when you look at that at-bat with Salvador Perez, what do you make of it, Jason, especially with the points that I brought up about Austin Wells?
Well, I think you both make important points. Salvador Perez is his kryptonite, right? But this guy has also found power late in his career. He's also all of a sudden become a power hitting catcher who hits power pitching. I don't know where this came from when he hit 48 or 49 2 years ago, and then he's at 30 now. So his hitting style has changed. He's a much more aggressive power hitter now, Salvador Perez. But like you said too, as a catcher, of anybody that's going to be familiar with pitchers' tendencies, it's going to be a catcher. So he's going to catch on to the Yankees pitching tendencies as well as the Royals pitching tendencies. So he'll be picking up on these types of guys, and he'll be able to capitalize on any opportunity he sees. He'll know I see where Rodon's tipping this, where he's tilting here, where my point's going to be here. So I know where the ball's coming, so I can position my offense accordingly. So he has the skill set to be able to do that, and as a skilled veteran, he's definitely taking advantage of it. And he just happens to be a freaking power hitter now.
Yeah. I made the mistake. He was Cuban, not Dominican. Thank you, Frank Rivera, for pointing that out in the chat. Appreciate you, brother. And that's what we're missing. I know Anthony Rizzo is on the bench, right? As a veteran, he's giving his moral support, but not having him in the field. I know John Birdie made phenomenal plays, and give credit to John Birdie where credit is due, because that's the first time he ever played first base. But this is the difference between somebody who has a baseball IQ and somebody who's just athletic. John Birdie has a baseball IQ. He's athletic. He's a good fielder. He has speed. He had a single in yesterday's game as well. Would I like to see Oswaldo Cabrera? Yeah. Would I like to see Ben Rice? Yeah. Am I disappointed at what we got out of John Birdie? No. He actually exceeded whatever expectations I had for him. So shout out to John Birdie. Step it up. When your manager calls on you, when your manager calls on your number, that's how you're supposed to perform. Make big time defensive plays. He not only did he make that play at first base, but like I said, he got that cutoff guy. He was the cutoff guy to get the runner rounding first, going to second to end the inning. So that right there is baseball IQ and shows that he's a true veteran. So shout out to John Birdie for that. I want to bring up the lineup from yesterday's game because I know we was talking about Judge, but when you look at the lineup, Gleyber Torres 0 for 3. Juan Soto 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts, right? I know Judge, he got that infield single. Hopefully that turns it around. Austin Wells was 1 for 4. Giancarlo Stanton 1 for 4, an RBI, a dribbler. Jazz Chisholm 1 for 4 with the home run and the RBI. But then you got Volpe, Verdugo, and Birdie all had a hit as well in the bottom part of the lineup. I want to ask you about Anthony Volpe because his at-bats, they seem like they're getting better. He's working 3-2 counts. He's hitting the ball hard. I know we rather see the numbers, right, when it comes to a home run or some RBIs from Anthony Volpe, but looking at the silver lining, seeing that Anthony Volpe is having better at-bats at the bottom part of the lineup takes a sigh of relief when you look at Anthony Volpe, because if Aaron Judge could start clicking, if Juan Soto does what he does, and you get Anthony Volpe going 1 for 3, Verdugo going 1 for 4, Birdie going 1 for 3, you take that when the top of your lineup is performing. When the top of your lineup is not performing, you put so much pressure on the other guys. But just hypothetical, if Aaron Judge would have got a hit in that first inning to drive in a couple of runs or driving a run, you would have took off pressure. You would have took pressure off of Austin Wells. You would have took pressure off of Jazz Chisholm. You would have took pressure off of everybody behind him. They already lived with we have to step up and protect the cap. We have to step up and help the cap. But when Judge is not coming through, it puts a lot more pressure on guys that aren't expected to be the ones that are carrying the offense, if you get what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, we went 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position last night.
It's horrible. You're not going to win any playoff series like that.
I think we put 20 runners on base, left us stranded 20 runners on base this series. I'm not joking. I think it's either 19 or 20. I'm not lying.
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, look it up. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to say it like, yeah, look it up. I'm just.
No, it's cool.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can't do that. You cannot do that. I looked at my husband at one point. I said, we should have 4 runs now. We should have 4 runs by now. And he's like, really? And I'm like, we had all these base runners. Like, we're not moving them over. We're not bringing them in. Uh-huh. It's so frustrating. So even if somebody like Anthony Volpe, puts together an amazing at-bat or works a walk and gets on base, which is what we want him to do. We want him to get on base so he can steal around, so he can make a difference. And then he gets left, So it makes him want to slug and hit a home run more. Like, well, if they're not going to bat me in, I got to hit a home run. That's pressing. And then you expand and then you unravel. And so the only way to fight that is to play as a team, sacrifice flies, hit, bunt, hit the guy, like just go back to what we were doing in September.
Yeah.
I know it's playoffs and everybody is pressing and Aaron Judge, you guys, listen, I love Aaron Judge. I absolutely love him. I don't think it was a bad contract. No. I think he will hit. However, as somebody who, and I'm sure everybody in the chat can commiserate, somebody who's watched him 162 games this year, give or take a few because he was out or whatever, he's not there right now.
Right now.
He looks scared. He looks like he's trying so hard. He looks like a deer in the headlights at the plate. He's swinging at stuff he never would have swung at. And then he's swinging through pitches he usually drives. So we need the rest of the team to step up because Aaron Judge will come around. I believe that. Aaron Judge will come around. He's got to just calm down and get back to his game. Make them pitch to you, you know? Yeah. Stop swinging at stuff out of the zone.
Yeah.
But one hand washes the other. You know, it's a team. Yeah, we need Aaron Judge to hit. We need him to hit bad. But the rest of the team has got to hit too.
They need to step up as well.
It's chicken or the egg. If they start hitting, he'll start hitting. You know, if they don't hit, he won't hit. Like, it's chicken or the egg. It's a team sport, y'all.
Mm-hmm. So far for the series, Aaron Judge has a 143 batting average. He is 1 for 7 in that time span, right? This is what Aaron Judge had to say when he was asked after the game. And Aaron Judge said, if I'm not hitting 1,000, I'm not feeling good. I just got to keep on getting on base for the guys behind me. If they get on, I got to drive them in. Jay, go ahead, bro.
It's, you know, it looks like, and you're right too, because it looks like he's pressing, like he feels like he has to put the whole team on his shoulders, right? You shouldn't have to do that. That's the whole point of everybody else doing their part. Put the ball in play, bunt, move a guy over, right? Draw a walk, do something. You get some guys on base because when he does start to hit, when Stanton does start to hit, then there's guys on base. And it goes from a solo home run to a 3-run home run. All of a sudden, you score 3 runs instead of 1. So everybody needs to just do their small part. We don't need everybody to hit home runs. We need everybody just to play their role, right? Put the ball in play, move a guy over, do the things, put together guys in a position to contribute, right? His strong suit is the power, right, and his contact. So is Soto's. We know this, right? So is Stanton's. We know this. But we need these other guys. We need Volpe to move a guy over. We need Austin Walsh to get on base, draw a walk, right? First guy, they showed remarkable discipline in the first game by drawing these walks.
Yeah.
That's how they won the game. They drew walks. They played small ball, right? Sometimes that helps win games. They could have possibly scored another run or two last night doing that. But some guys were a little too anxious hitting the ball on the first pitch and then grounding out. You don't need to do that. You really don't need to do that. And Judge should not have to feel, I understand, I appreciate he feels that way, but he shouldn't have to feel like he has to carry the team every at-bat because we need the other guys to do their work. Soto's made him a mile. Yes, he has. But it can't be Judge and Soto show all the time.
No.
Right? It can't be.
This is not the NBA where you could just take LeBron James and just put a couple of all-stars around him and you're going to win a championship. No, in Major League Baseball, you need every person on your roster contributing, all 26 men. When the Yankees won in the late 90s, yes, we had the core 4, the core 5, the Derek Jeter, the Jorge Posada, but we also had Jose Vizcaíno. We also had Luis Tiant. We also had Ramiro Mendoza, right? Luis Sojo. We had other guys that were on that roster that weren't the big names, right? We had a bunch of big guys. We had El Duque, right? Who was Cy Young money in the postseason. In the regular season, he wasn't the same. But we had other guys on the roster contributing, and that's what we need right now. Credit to Gleyber Torres because in that first game, he came through. In game 2, he didn't come through in game 2. We need Torres to get online. He is the person who sets the tone for Soto and for Judge. If Gleyber Torres can get on, and if Juan Soto can move him around, you're setting it up perfectly for Aaron Judge. But like Austin Cruz said in the chat, this is the conversation that David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez was having on Fox. And Austin, thank you for bringing it up. This is what they said. David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez mentioned how Aaron Judge needs to let the pitch come to him. Let the pitches come to you like you do in the regular season. But in the playoffs, it seems like Aaron Judge is pressing. And that's the one thing you saw in last night's game. Every one of his at-bats, he was pressing. He was swinging at a pitch when he normally would take it, and it's a ball. He is undercutting a swing. He is just late behind it. Again, at the end of the season, Aaron Judge was in a little funk because of Paul Patrol, and then he caught on fire and hit 8 home runs in like 10 games or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And then they sat him, and he had a whole week off. And there's a reason he's cold, right? I'm not trying to make excuse. I'm just laying out the fact, right? At the end of the season, they sat him. He got cold, and then he had a whole week off, and he's just trying to rev things back up. It doesn't look good if your career postseason numbers look like a freeway. If your career postseason numbers is I-220, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb when you don't come through in game 1 and game 2, when you're hitting in double plays, when you're killing the rally, when you're supposed to be the guy to driving the runs.
Did you see that Aaron Judge has the highest strikeout percentage of all time of batters in the postseason of all time? Yep. 34.3 or something like that percent. I saw this. Bueno. And I know it's not good. And then, but here's why I wanted to bring this up. Right underneath him. So Aaron Judge just passed this guy. So second place of highest strikeout rate of all time in the postseason is Martin Maldonado. Now, no disrespect to Martin Maldonado, but we played the Astros a lot in the postseason, and every single guy in the lineup was like slugger. I mean, it was terrifying facing the Astros lineup in the heyday. And when we got around to Martin Maldonado, who was their catcher at the time, we were like, oh, whew, here's an automatic strikeout. That's how I felt. No disrespect. But that was our break. That was our break in the lineup. Aaron Judge's strikeout rate is more than Martin Maldonado's.
That's not good.
That is perspective right there. Now, I believe Judge will get hot, but I heard some people calling him Mr. July.
Listen, listen, I get it, right? I know. That's a bit outrageous.
Yeah.
But and I've said this on so many different shows, Jason and Grace, you guys could agree with me. We are New York sports fans, right? Yeah. We have a lens, and we put every athlete under that lens of what have you done for me lately? And in the regular season, Aaron Judge is money. He is going to get you to the postseason. He is going to get you to the dance. But in October, is he coming through? So far for his career, he has not come through. I know he has 13 home runs, and 13 home runs is still a lot. It's still 13 home runs, but the batting average is not what you want it to be. And when you look at it, 1 for 7 in the first 2 games of the ALDS, and your one hit is an infield single that you have to bust your ass down the line to get, you're gonna have people chirping. And right now, Yankee fans are chirping.
Yeah, and let's just not ignore one fact. There would be no postseason Yankees without regular season Judge. Period. Without Judge, we're not here. Okay? So, and let's keep our expectations on planet Earth here as well, right? Yeah, we expect a lot from Judge, but we need the other guys to contribute too. Clayton Kershaw had dealt with this same problem his first 10 years of his career. He was great in the regular season. He was terrible in the playoffs until he had one good playoff.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
A-Rod.
Changed. A-Rod too. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
A-Rod carried the Yankees. He saved them in 2000.
Oh, he was a hero. Yeah.
He carried the freaking team.
Yep. 2009,
and we'll never forget that.
Yeah.
So, am I confident that's going to happen for Judge? Yeah, but we have so many other guys here too, and that's why you just said too. It's a balancing act. When some guys are down, we need to be picked them up by the other guys. When those guys are, guys pick them up. It's 26-man effort, right? It's not like you say you can put Michael Jordan on the court, surround him with 5 high school All-Americans. He'll take him to NBA Finals. Just like that's just difference of Michael Jordan. But we're not talking about it. This is a different game. It's a different sport. Okay. And this is a long season too, 162 games. This isn't 17 like football where they play once a week. Okay.
Yeah.
162. This is a long grind. These guys are tired at the end of the season. Okay. They don't have many replacements. You can't sub in and out of a game like you do in football. You sit for 10 minutes. The other guy, you can't do that in baseball. Once you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
You have to play the whole game. So it's a whole different dynamic.
And to back up your point, Grace, when you brought up the whole pinch hitting J-Dom for Stanton, right? To back up your point, because I understand the optics from the Yankees about you don't want to belittle your veteran, the guy who's making money. And I call BS on that, right? You know why I call BS on that? We already done that. Within the past 15 to 20 years, this organization has done that in the postseason with a veteran making big time money. Jason and Grace, you guys remember one of the greatest pitch hitting situations, not only in Yankee postseason history, but in Major League Baseball postseason history? You guys remember when Joe Girardi pinch hit Alex Rodriguez for Raul Ibanez? What the hell did Raul Ibanez do? Not only did he tie the game late in the game, but in extra innings, he hit a walk-off home run. And Raul Ibanez will forever eat for free in the Bronx whenever he's by 161. Even though we ain't win a World Series, Raul Ibanez will eat for free at the Frituro spot that's right there on the Grand Concourse, right? So with the Yankees trying not to belittle a veteran, trying not to belittle somebody who makes big-time money, you did that with Alex Rodriguez already. And this was before Alex Rodriguez was suspended for steroids and tried to sue the Yankees. You already did that with A-Rod. Hell, Joe Torre batted A-Rod 8th in the lineup. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about not wanting to make a mess with the feelings of the veterans, because we've done that in the past 20 years already with Alex Rodriguez. We've already done that.
And are the Yankees actually saying that, or are their beat writers saying that?
No, there's a lot of beat writers that are saying that. There's a lot of beat writers who are saying that.
Right? All we're hearing is talking points from other people. This is why I call talking points all the time. I ask people, did they actually do this? Or you say, oh, you're using someone else's talking points.
Yeah.
I want people to prove their points. This is what you bring it. This isn't a really important point, right? That's why I stand propaganda. I can't stand talking points. Just stick with the facts.
You know,
go ahead, Grace. Sorry.
No, you're good. I wanted to say, kind of talking about Aaron Boone's managing style from an observational point of view, which is all we can do because we haven't spoken to him. I watched the pre-game interview yesterday with Meredith Morakovitz, my queen, and he talked about how he was how he was performing in the leadoff spot, which I think we can all agree across the board has been fantastic. And Gleyber Torres mentioned how he was so shocked when he got put into the leadoff spot because he was struggling and he had been benched and he was kind of trying to get out of this struggle. And he came in one day, and I'm paraphrasing, but you can go watch the interview yourself if you haven't seen it. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, I came in one day and I was on the leadoff. I was hitting leadoff. And I said, oh my God, I was shocked. But then I thought, I'm paraphrasing, I thought Boone has confidence in me. Like, I got to go out there and do my job. And he turned everything around. And after watching this interview, I was really struck by a managerial style where you have faith in somebody before they have faith in themselves. And sometimes that works. And as we can all agree, Gleyber Torres has been money over the last month at the plate.
Month and a half, been hitting 315 since the middle of August.
Month and a half. You see? And Boone directly fostered that. And nobody wants to give Boone credit for things, but Boone directly fostered that in Gleyber Torres. And sometimes it works like that. Sometimes, you can say, Giancarlo, I have faith in you, la, la, la. And I'm still leaving you in. I'm not going to pinch hit you. I'm leaving you in. Let's go. And it doesn't work, right? And then you got to adjust, right? That's all we want Boone to do is just adjust. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't, right? He's got a really hard job, y'all. A lot of different personalities, a lot of players, they need different things. There's a lot on his mind. There's a lot to do. And I'm not giving him an excuse, but I am just saying this point, which is that Boone is directly responsible. And I'm not taking any credit away from Gleyber Torres. What he's done is amazing. But Boone is directly responsible for the success that Gleyber Torres has had in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, no, 100% Grace. And I'm glad you said that. And we got to give flowers when flowers are due. We're quick to beat up on them when they make a bad move with the bullpen or when a bad trade happens. But you give flowers when flower is due. And when you see the way that Aaron and Jason, you and I, we probably echo the same sentiment, right? When you look at Aaron Boone's tenure as a manager for the Yankees and what the scraps that he have been given over the past few years, Aaron Boone didn't trade for IKF and made IKF the everyday shortstop. That wasn't Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone didn't trade for Josh Donaldson. Aaron Boone didn't trade for Joey Gallo. Aaron Boone didn't give Aaron Hicks a contract extension that everybody hated. Aaron Boone didn't decide to put all the faith in Gary Sanchez and not move on from Gary Sanchez. That wasn't Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone was handed lemonade, and he's been trying to do the best that he can do with the scraps he has been given. The bottom of the barrel when it comes to bullpen arm. The bottom of the barrel when it comes to Willie Calhoun, Jake Bowers. Look at the team that we had last year. And when you go out there and you get someone like Juan Soto, then you have something cooking with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. So credit to Boone. Credit, how he handled and managed his team so far. Razil the Great, sorry, I deleted your comment by accident. Go ahead, Jay.
Credit to both of you. Thank you for saying what you said. I get torched on my channel for giving Boone credit for anything. Anything. You see it, Hector. Are you seeing it? I get demolished by people on my channel for giving Boone credit, giving credit. It's like, God forbid you acknowledge somebody does that works.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid, right? And so thank you for bringing that up. And right now we need him to be strategic.
Yeah.
Right? As strategic as we cannot be emotional as much as it's easier said than done, but we've got to be as strategic as possible to win 2 out of 3. Right. And now's the time to do it. If you need Duke Ellis, you put him in there. If you need Trent Grisham, put him in there. Do whatever you need to do to field the best team. And if it's not working halfway through the game, like you said, Grace, make the changes on the fly. Right. Call an audible. Do something. Something like that's what needs to be done right now. This is the position that we're in. Right. But thank you to both of you for actually acknowledging something that Aaron Boone does. I get at me with a pitchfork every time I credit anything that he does.
Stay strong, Jason.
Jason, we right there with you. This is one thing I brought up, right? And I've mentioned this to Grace and Damien. When I'm there working with Latino sports, working on the field as a member of media, shout out to Latino sports. If you guys aren't following Latino sports on Instagram, go ahead and do it. My co-worker, my guy Ferris, he had an interview with Bobby Witt Jr. That's on the Instagram page. You could go and check that out. We have exclusive footage at Yankee Stadium before the game when they're doing infield drills, BP and everything like that. So go to Latino Sports on Instagram, go to latinosports.com. But when I'm there and I'm working media and I'm on the field during the Yankees BP, I see Aaron Boone working with Jazz Chisholm. I see Aaron Boone hitting ground balls to Oswaldo Cabrera. I see Aaron Boone with the infield drills with Gleyber Torres and whoever is the first baseman for the day. I see Trent Grisham taking ground balls at first base with Aaron Boone. That's what I see, and sometimes as a fan, our perspective, it gets screwed because we just have blinders on, we're just fans. And the Yankees may be guilty of it as well, because we don't get to see the Yankees BP on the Yes Network like that. Their infield drills, we don't get to see that like that. So me seeing that as a member of the media, that I was shocked. I was like, oh, wow, I've never seen this before in the Yankees batting practice. I've never seen this before behind the scenes footage. Go ahead, Jay, my fault.
We're not hearing what you're seeing. All we're hearing is the loudmouths and the talking points from people people who don't understand the game or don't play the game, trashing the Yankees on certain things where Boone is doing. This is like, I remember when I was in high school, when we were playing high school baseball, our coaches were out there hitting ground balls, hitting fly balls and shagging us. And that's what he's doing at the major league level. He doesn't have to do that, but he does it. So, all these little things that nobody talks about that he's doing, that putting his team in a position. If they're not getting better to a certain point, we'll have to acknowledge that maybe we got beat by a better team. Like the Orioles got beat by a better team. The Astros got beat by a better team. Better on paper does not mean better on the field. Okay? It's a huge difference between the two. Okay. So, and it's the little things that count. And Aaron Boone does a lot of these little things. He gives him credit for it because nobody knows about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. And I don't think, seeing how Aaron Boone acts on a day-to-day basis when he's preparing for the game, Aaron Boone is not that type of person that I want credit for this. Look at what I'm doing over here. Give me no. He just goes around his route. He just goes about his routine day in and day out, and you see that. And that's why when you're sitting in the press booth and you see like certain players in the outfield working on their outfield drills, working on how to track fly balls, you can see the difference of, oh wow, he needs to work on this, he needs to work on that. So yeah, I just want to take a second and just say that. So all you Yankee fans out there that yes, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I would never just be a company guy and just say whatever you guys want just so I don't get booted out by the Yankees. But you got to give flowers we got to give credit where credit is due. And the way that Aaron Boone has managed his team over the past few years with the garbage that we have had as a product in front of us. I'm going to say it again, with the garbage that we have had. And we've been able to get to the postseason almost every year. It says a lot. And seeing what this team been through this year with the injuries, with the bullpen not having a closer, trying to figure out who's going to be your closer on a 5, not having a first baseman because Anthony Rizzo is in and out of the lineup due to injuries. All of that has to go into equation. Look at Carlos Mendoza with the New York Mets. To me, that's manager of the year. Where was he last year and for the past several years with Aaron Boone and the Yankees? You don't think anything that Boone has done or anything that the Yankees done rubbed off on Mendy when he went over to Queens?
Go to the other side, to the Phillies. Bobby Thompson was with the Yankees also.
Mm-hmm.
The manager. Both of these teams were with the Yankees managers. He learned from the Yankee system. Both of them.
Go ahead, Grace.
Something else I wanted to say, I was saying that sometimes having faith in a player before they have faith in themselves can pay off like it did with Gleyber Torres, and that's what Aaron Boone did. I want to also bring up a controversial subject that a lot of us were screaming about for a while. That was Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes, Aaron Boone gave him every single chance to keep the closer role. He kept faith in this man when he didn't have faith in himself, honestly, and none of the fans had faith in him, and he kept coming out saying, that's our closer, that's our closer, that's our closer, he's our guy, we're still going to put him in, we're still going to put him in. Eventually, he pulled him from that spot. So even though he tried to give him the Gleyber Torres treatment, right? And he wanted Clay Holmes to step up and take that role and reclaim the closer-ness that he had. He eventually said, you know what? It's not working. Enough's enough. He made the adjustment. He pulled Clay Holmes out of that closer role. He went to other people in his bullpen. He found a new closer. He kept Clay Holmes in the rotation, but in the bullpen, but he found a new closer for that spot. So he did make that adjustment. Now, did he wait too long to make that adjustment? A lot of Yankees fans would say yes.
Maybe.
However, we ended the season with the best record in the American League and the top seed in the playoffs. We won our division. You can't win your division more than winning your division. You can't have a better record in the AL than having the best record in the AL. So criticizing and all this stuff, keep the perspective, guys. You know what I mean? Like, keep the perspective. We finished number 1 in regular season. So saying, oh, well, he should have made the adjustment earlier. Okay, why? Can you get more number 1 than number 1? No? Okay. He's trying things, he's adjusting. Just keep the perspective. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, shout out to the chat. My guy Frank Rivera says, so who brought the garbage? You can never be replaced because nobody is good enough. Shout out to Frank Rivera in the building. I think he's talking about Brian Cashman, who I've learned has been with the New York Yankees ever since he was 19 years old.
Yep.
He's been with this organization ever since he was 18, 19 years old. So this is more than baseball. I could agree with you, Frank Rivera, on that, on who brought the garbage in. Shout out to Razil the Great. Boone couldn't keep showing face to a guy who wasn't believing in himself. And I think he's talking about Clay Holmes. But Stephen B., I want to bring this up. He said, I see trolls come and roast Jason. Jason is the most level-headed fan, gives both sides of the news, good and bad. And that's the one thing we've talked about that, Jason. The number one rule of journalism is being able to write a critique about your friend. You got to be able to be objective, right? Jason is a good friend of mine. Grace is a good friend of mine, right? But if I consider myself a journalist, I got to be able to write a piece on both of them without sounding biased, without sounding like I'm just rooting for one person. And that's a thin line in journalism that doesn't get crossed or is scared to get crossed, because if you're a beat writer, you don't want to put something out that's too critical on the team, Because at the end of the day, you still want to get access to that team's organization when it comes to their facilities, when it comes to batting practice, when it comes to getting a media pass. I know this firsthand basis. You don't want to get banned by that team. So sometimes in media, sometimes in journalists, sometimes when it comes to journalism, some people don't cross that line or don't try to poke the bear too much, right? So I get it, both sides. I seen somebody brought up Jeff Passan early in the chat. Jeff Passan is somebody that, you know, I followed for the longest, for the past 10, 15 years. It looks like Jeff Passan is leaving Major League Baseball to go be the to be the number one reporter for ESPN when it comes to covering the NBA. So shout out to Jeff Passan. And yeah, Jeff Passan, it was the rumor last night that Jeff Passan will be leaving, will stop covering baseball to cover the NBA for ESPN. So shout out to Jeff Passan, who's made a great career, because Adrian Wojnarowski, he left covering the NBA for ESPN. The Woj bomb, that was the number one NBA guy. And now Jeff Passan will be the number one NBA guy for ESPN. So shout out to Jeff Passan. Let's see who replaces him.
It's me.
Yeah, it's going to be Grace. It's going to be Grace.
Right. Let me just tell y'all, I am not an unbiased journalist, okay? Newsflash.
I just want to bring up the pitching. Just one last topic, and then we're gonna close it up for today. So, like I said, Carlos Rodon 3 2/3, Ian Hamilton an inning and a third, Jay Cousin 1/3 of an inning, Tim Hill 2/3, Clay Holmes he threw an inning, Tommy Kahnle threw an inning, Meza threw 2/3, and then Luke Weaver threw a third of an inning. Out of these bullpen arms, the one that impressed me the most was Ian Hamilton. Seeing Ian Hamilton come back, I know he struck out 3 of the batters that he faced, but with Ian Hamilton, he's been dealing with injuries this entire season. This entire season's back and forth on the IL. He came back in the last month of September, was a big piece. And the way we closed out the season was because of Hamilton at that back end of the bullpen. To me, Luke Weaver and Ian Hamilton are the 2 trusted arms that I have coming out of that bullpen. Grace, what do you say on that? And let's toss it over to Jason, and we'll get ready to wrap things up.
Yeah, I love Ian Hamilton. I think he's mentally tough, and I love that in a bullpen arm. I think he's got nasty stuff when he's got his, Slambio working and all that. I think he's great. I think, I love to see it. I think he gave up a hit on his first pitch, I think. But then after that, locked it down. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. So see what I'm saying? He gave up a hit on his first pitch, turns around and locked the in, I mean, I love to see it. I love him. Yeah, Shayna. We always talk about, he looks like a gangster.
Mashi. That's what I'm saying. Ian Hamilton looks like a prohibition gangster. Ian Hamilton looked like he was running moonshine back and forth from New York to New Jersey.
Can't catch me, coppers.
Can't catch me, coppers. See my she.
Yeah, I love him. So anyway, I think the bullpen, you can't ask for more from a bullpen, period. You cannot ask for more from a bullpen. We have to score runs. We have to score runs. That's it. Yeah. And that's what's frustrating for Yankees fans, because it's been the same story. It feels like we've all seen this before, and that's what's triggering us. So everybody out there on Twitter who's like, don't freak out, it's only one game. Like, are y'all brand new? It's not only one game. It feels like we've been here, but it's triggering because we've been here before. We've seen this before. And we don't want that to be the case. We're worried. We care. Okay?
Yeah.
We care. We're passionate, right? I hope it's not the same old. I mean, at the end of the day, it is one game, right? But it feels like more. That's why we got to score runs. We got to come out in the first inning against Seth Lugo. I want to score at least 1 to 2 runs, at least in the first inning. I don't care. We have to come out strong with the top of our lineup, make them pay, and pass the baton down. We got to start from the very beginning. None of this. Gleyber Torres worked 2 walks yesterday. He's doing his part. Like we have to. Anyway, I know I'm sounding like a broken record.
No, you're good, Grace.
Anyway, Ian Hamilton's great.
Jason, what's your thoughts on that? And I have one more bonus question for Jason before we get out of here. Go ahead, bro.
I wish we had. I mean, I like Tim Hill, I like Tim Mesa, but I wish we had a lefty that we were confident about the way we are. Like if we had Tanner Scott type of guy here, which is why I hope they go after him in free agency. That would help neutralize the balance, I think, on the bullpen. I like Hill, I like Mesa, but I think we need to step up a little bit on the left-handed side. But I agree. Hamilton, Weaver. I hope Cousins comes back to his original. I think he's going to need a couple games to get there. Hopefully, we have a couple games. So, but all in all, I feel good about the bullpen, and I like the fact that Clay Holmes has embraced his new role as a middle relief, as a situation, particularly against righties. And he's taking it in the chin. He still has 30. Still has 30 saves, and his ERA is lower than Josh Hader, guy that everybody wanted here instead of Helms, right? So, and that's just a crazy fact that people hate hearing, but it's true. But I do think that I'm in agreement with both of you. Hamilton and Weaver are the two guys I'm most confident about on this side right here, and I hope Cousins adds that to make it a three-headed monster. I really do.
Yeah, there was something that came out over the past, back to last week, right? Over the weekend, back to last week. And it has to do with our favorite talking head from the New York Yankees, Michael Kay. Shout out to Michael Kay, ESPN Radio, also with the Yes Network. But this is what he said on his radio show. And I want to ask you, Jason, just because you were around, you were following the Yankees in the 80s, something that I wasn't born yet to follow the Yankees in the 80s. So maybe you could speak on this more than I can speak on this. But this is what Michael Kay said, right? All of a sudden, talking about Yankee and Met fans, right? All of a sudden, Yankee and Met fans are kumbaya. I'm not buying it. And the ones that are, they're not real Yankee fans. If they're just rivaling and the Mets having a great win, they're not real fans. I want to ask you, Jason, as someone who's a Yankee content creator, who's a Yankee fan as well, how do you feel about Yankee fans like myself saying that, the Mets had a good win. Shout out to the Mets. That was a great win. That was a great home run by Pete Alonso. What's your thoughts on that? Should there be, like, should Yankee fans hate Met fans? What's your take on that?
I don't know about hating Met fans. I understand it's a natural rivalry. I know we get a lot of heat right now from people saying from the Met side that Juan Soto's going to sign with them. That's part of the trolling process, right? That's part of the rivalry. That comes with the territory. But the fact of the matter is, I'm rooting for the Phillies against the Mets. And I like what the Mets are doing. They're playing magical baseball. All kudos to them. But I want the Phillies to win. I'm only going to root for one New York team. That's going to be the Yankees. That's the way I feel. But I'm not going to hate the Mets at all.
Copy.
I'm giving them credit for what they're having a great season. And again, they're having a magical run, kind of like the Diamondbacks had last year. So I got to give credit to it. But I am rooting for the Phillies. That's also partially because my wife's a Phillies fan. So I don't want to get in a doghouse either. But like, I have to root for the Phillies. I feel like from a personal standpoint, I can only root for one New York team. That's got to be the Yankees. But I'm not going to ignore or deny what the Mets have done this year. They've done fantastic things.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, Grace?
I have a little bit different perspective because I'm a Texas girl. I live in Texas my whole life and grew up here, only know Texas people. So I don't know any Mets fans. I don't know a single Mets fan except for the people I've met on the internet. And so for me, I don't care about the Mets at all, one way or the other. I have no feeling toward them whatsoever. When they win, I'm like, oh, great for New York City, my favorite place in the world. Great for, I don't know. I don't care. I hate the Astros. Why? Because I know so many Astros fans. I'm out here in Texas. Y'all help me. I'm in hell. Okay? I'm in Astros and Rangers hell out here. I have no Yankees friends out here except for my friends on the internet. Okay? So once again, I have a different perspective. So if we lose to the Mets or the Mets do well, I'm not going to hear about it from anybody in my real life. I'm not going to see anybody wearing Mets gear. I'm not going to, I don't have that. Now, Astros, on the other hand, I see it everywhere. And it's horrible, right? So if I'm wearing a Yankees hat out in Texas, like I am wont to do, I'll run into an Astros fan. And they'll say something to me, right? I won't run into a Mets fan. I'm not, and they're not going to say anything to me. So
Fair.
I hate the Astros. I don't care about the Mets, right? Now, if I lived in New York City, I'd probably feel different, you know? I probably feel like, yeah, the Astros suck, but whatever. I hate the Mets, right? Because you have to deal with them all the time. I don't out here. So take that for whatever it is.
Yeah. And I your sentiment about hating the Astros because you live in Texas and the Astros have been our bully over the past several years. But for me, if I had to rank them, for me, it's the Red Sox. The Red Sox is the number one hatred that I have because that's the team that when I was in high school, when I was young, they came back and beat the Yankees in 2004. So that will forever be in the back of my mind when it comes to like hatred that I have. Then I would say the Houston Astros because of the whole cheating scandal. I will always live by the Houston Astros ruined Luis Severino because Luis Severino was money. And then he had that start in Houston where they were laying off his slider. So he started overthrowing his fastball and got injured and was never the same. I will always live on that hill and I would die on that hill. When it comes to the Mets, it's more of a nostalgia for me because my mom's is a Met fan. And I grew up with my mom being a single mother, and my introduction to baseball was my mother telling me, you can't root for my team. You have to root for the Yankees because she wanted that rivalry in the household. So for me, that was my introduction to baseball. And I will always not have a soft spot, but it's nostalgia for me because it reminds me of my mom. It reminds me growing up in Far Rockaway, Queens, when my mom would take me to the baseball field. I was surrounded by Met fans, but I had the only Yankee hat on and she would teach me the game. So I will always have a soft spot in nostalgia because of my mom's and only because of my mom's. And she knows that. And on top of it, I do like Citi Field because they have the Mr. Softy ice cream machine in the media lunchroom. You know, the Yankees, they only have the regular ice cream machine. So until the Yankees get a Mr. Softy ice cream dispenser in the media lunchroom, I would like going to Citi Field because they have the Mr. Softy ice cream dispenser. And for those of you that are in New York, you know the difference between Mr. Softy and regular soft serve ice cream. I got a super chat that I want to acknowledge real quick. My guy Double A with the $4.99 super chat. Agree, Hector. Cashman is the LOL, not Boom. Shout out to you, Double A. My fault, Grace. Go ahead.
You know, the Astros have barbecue, but you don't hear me, you know, being loyal to them. You know, let me know when the Yankees get some barbecue up there and then, you know, but yeah, that's amazing. Your mom taught you to be strong. That's a gift. That is an absolute gift. Taught you to be confident and strong in your own principles. That's great. Now, don't get me wrong. I wanted to say one thing. Don't get me wrong. I hate the Red Sox. Okay. Because even in Texas, there are Red Sox fans around. Ooh. You could run into a Red Sox fan in Texas, but you would never run into a Mets fan. So I don't know what that says about. I'm just telling you the facts.
Well, and then I'll end it with this. When both teams are good, when both the Yankees and the Mets, when they're good, baseball in New York City is just so much better to talk about. Right, you have that inner city rivalry. You have the trolling that's going on both sides. Like Jason said, you got Met fans trolling Yankee fans all season, Yankee fans trolling Met fans. And when both teams are good, it's just great. It's just better for baseball, especially if you live in New York City. It just makes it better. I'm sorry. I just have to admit it makes talking trash to my cousins better. It makes talking trash to the friends that I have who are Met fans better. Like my guy Anthony, Subway to Shea. I do a lot of work with him with Dexter Henry in New York One. He's a Met fan. I love in our group chat between me, him, and Al Centrone from WFAN because they're both Met fans and I'm a Yankee fan, right? It just makes it better. Jason, Grace, any last words before we get out of here?
Grace,
can you imagine how much the rivalry will be maybe even more invigorated if they take Juan Soto away?
I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Jason, thank you so much for coming on today. You are a true treasure, national treasure. Jason 161 River Avenue right there. Y'all stop trolling him when he makes great points about Aaron Boone.
It's all good. It comes with the territory, so I take it in stride. I take it on the chin.
Yes.
Back like Rocky Balboa, so that's so fans. We don't. Jason,
me and Grace, we have to join you. So if you're doing on after tomorrow's game, if you're doing another post game, if you want me and Grace, I can speak for myself. I'll be there. I'm not sure about Grace. I don't want to speak to her because I sent her the link for last night's and she was like, and after the Yankees, she said, I never want to talk about the Yankees ever again.
Wait, yeah. We had a lot of unhappy. We got a lot of unhappy fans when they lose. A lot of happy fans when they win, obviously, and the people. We have a certain number of people who disappear when they win, and who just show up when they lose. And they kind of jump in, and then when they win, they're like, "Where the hell are you guys? The Yankees won. What's going on here?" They're nowhere to be found. So that's just the way that it is in these streams. It's crazy, but you guys know you're always welcome. Anytime.
I want to shout out my guy Richie Martinez. I think Richie works at a bank. Richie says, "Hello, I got y'all blasted in my branch. I gotta say, Judge got to grow a set and man up. We're going as far as Judge can take us." Richie Martinez, appreciate you, and shout out to everybody that's at your branch. Hopefully, we don't get nobody fired for listening to us this morning. Shout out to you. Who else in the building? LI Yankee King. The Mets and Yankees don't have a true rivalry. Shout out to LI Yankee King.
Take.
Old Sarge is in the building. Our friend Old Sarge, how you doing? Eddie snaps. The Astros ruined Ching-Ming Wong when they were still a National League team. Absolutely. Not having the universal DH killed Ching-Ming Wong in his career 100%. My guy Ghost, salute Ghost. Red Sox are just bums with a capital B-U-M-S. Astro fans are just a worse version than the Red Sox fans. I gotta agree 100%. Delano's still with the $5 super chats. Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla. Are Mets fans sure they want to troll Yankee fans? They haven't won a World Series since my childhood. Delano, don't age yourself, right? And the last thing I'm going to say, all you Yankee fans out there, enjoy the postseason. It's baseball time. It's postseason baseball. Just go out there, have a good time. Don't get into arguments on the internet. Save your mental health. It's bigger stuff out there in the world. If there's people in Florida that need help, shoot them a message, send them anything, donate whatever you can, reach out to people if you haven't heard from them in a few days. It's scary situations that's going on. But until next time, like always, drink your water, say something positive about yourself. Let's go Yankees. And I'm Hector.
I'm Grace Monroe.
I'm Jason in the house.
And this is Yankees Morning Brew, and we will see y'all this Thursday. Deuces.
Oh.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.